This is going to be well, 1,000 cans of Liqui Moly. Right now it is literally unprinted, empty cans waiting to be filled with Liqui Moly additive goodness, because this is the home of Liqui Moly globally. This is where it started. This is where it's still in operation today. If you have ever used a Liqui Moly additive, it has come from here. Full stop. Nowhere else in the world. This is literally the only place it is made. We are halfway between Munich, and Stuttgart, the home of, well, Porsche for one. This is really the heartland, and this is the home of Liqui Moly. I'm very excited for this. Let's go. These are all the inside tanks that we're looking at. There's a whole bunch outside as well. I mean, hundreds of thousands of liters outside, but here it is. Mix 1, CeraTech. That's literally what's being made right now, and it's a global product. So it's literally the same if it goes to Slovenia or South Africa or the USA. It's made of the exact same mixture, the exact same recipe here. And then, as we'll see, just the packaging changes because we have to have the California warning for the USA market, whereas European will have French, German, Slovenian, whatever, everything there. So I can't believe we get to see CeraTech being made, because if you've ever used the product, you know it is a crazy color. It kind of looks like your head gasket might have gone bad, where it's doing quite literally the opposite and taking care of the engine. But wild that we get to see CeraTech being mixed with the formulas, pumping through all of these pumps. Absolutely wild. So we're not going to tell you the secret recipe, but that's CeraTech. You'll recognize the brown color. And here's a darker chemical going in. I'm losing my words here. Also, the smell in here of the hydrocarbons is really, really strong. So you see all the floor is completely metal. We'll go take a look at that downstairs, where this fresh batch of CeraTech is going to get pumped out. So the tanks we were talking about, here they are. This is 30,000 liters just in here alone. And then there's stuff everywhere. There's so much machinery, pumps, all sorts of things. But this is a giant KitchenAid mixer, basically. So this can automatically mix a lot of the product, whereas before, literally here, this exact same spot, it was done manually, basically. This will do it way faster, way fancier, but in the exact same spot. And I can't believe it. I actually genuinely feel super excited to be where every single can is being made. It's weird. It's a weird feeling that buying it in South Africa, buying it in Brazil, Uruguay, USA, literally it comes from right here. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. I never expected this. You're going to car factories and everything's kind of made all over and then assembled there. The car factories don't really produce a lot of stuff. This is wild. This is really crazy feeling. So this is what I'm now going to say is the famous Tank 3. Tank 3 literally only does MOS2, which, if you know the name, and I'll put it up on the screen in a minute, this is where Liqui Moly started. This was the first product. This is where the name comes from. And yeah, you can smell it, and you can, I don't know if you see it on the camera, but you can see that that's the MOS2. Sold as an additive in the little bottles, but now also sold pre-mixed. But they're saying this machine basically cannot be washed because the additive clings to everything, and the process to wash this out takes such a long time because it does such a good job that it's just not worth it. So Tank 3, for now and possibly forevermore, is just MOS2, and I just think that's just the coolest story ever. But it works so well that you can't remove it. So nice to meet you, Tank 3. Thanks for all the MOS2 that everyone in the entire world gets. So down on the production floor, there's a lot of noise, and the floor is actually special because it's all solid metal. In case there was ever a leak or a spill, it can't get out through the groundwater because it's literally on a solid metal floor. And if they ever puncture a hole, they just weld it up. And once a week, they go through and just make sure that everything's all watertight. Never would have thought about that. But in these pipes overhead, coming out right here, is CeraTech, as we just saw over there. So, 2 different production lines. The exact same fluid everywhere in the world, but if I reach down here, this is a made in Germany CeraTech with, there's the P65 warning for California. So this bottle is going to somebody in the United States of America with CeraTech made right here. But if I run over to the next one, here's the European bottle. So they're getting loaded by hand. I'm not going to slow you down. Everyone's working really, really hard, and I don't want to interrupt. So I'm going to try and stay out of everybody's way. But yeah, that's literally a European market CeraTech on one side, getting loaded up there. On the other side, it's the US ones, but it's the exact same pipe coming. In fact, I can prove it. There you go. There's the lines coming there, going down there, and over to the tank that we saw upstairs. Super cool. So then if we run through here, not in the way, there it is, it's getting mixed there. No, sorry. There it is getting poured in. Then it goes through there, gets closed up, and then hand boxed. I'm really not going to get in the way. How many bottles are made each week? You want to guess real fast? Their best ever week in just this one haul. Literally just this one haul. 180,000 bottles. Which means close to 1 million bottles in 2 weeks. Literally just in this one haul here. Unbelievable. So I'm overwhelmed, genuinely. There's so much stuff going on everywhere. It's unbelievable. But this is just the additive. So there's the super diesel additive there going in. This is only one side of Liqui Moly. There is, of course, the motor oil, and that's in a whole separate factory. So if you have ever bought an additive from Liqui Moly, MOS2, ever, my dad literally used MOS2 when I was a kid. This is where it came from. But right now, we're going to say our goodbyes to the production line. We're going to head over to Saale, the home of production for motor oils for Liqui Moly, for the entire planet as well. This is overwhelming. As I pack up and leave being literally the founding city and still base of Liqui Moly globally, one thing I didn't get to show you on camera, in there, right there, is the laboratory, and every single batch of additives is tested when it's first mixed, and then once it's put into the cans, and then they are stored. So if they ever need to retest it, etc., they are on hand, etc. But you can see the buildings literally are all around, because each time the company expands, they build or buy another building and just keep going. And one of the interesting things inside is those kind of manual process machines. They've kept them because they don't want to retire or lay off any employees, which is incredible that their attitude is, we want to support our workers. And so they literally do not replace them with machines, but perhaps once people retire and it gets to that point, then that would be the moment that the machine would be changed out if necessary. But yeah, this whole area, this whole little part of town is just Liqui Moly town. Super, super cool. So, Saale, let's go and see the motor oils being mixed and put in bottles and then shipped all over the world. Hello and welcome to Saale. This is where Liqui Moly oils are made and where they're bottled and then shipped out around the world, because this is the only location in the entire world that produces Liqui Moly oils. Fascinatingly, basically the oil company here has been around since the mid 1800s and it's still basically based in the same place, and their warehouse is not that big, although as I walk around you can see thousands of empty bottles. There will be 10 shipments of bottles coming in today and 10 shipments going out because they don't keep them here long enough to need warehousing. So if this is going to be some Top Tech, some Lifelouf, whatever it's going to be, this is Getriebe, I think that some of the transmission oils comes in this one when I buy it. There's normal oil, but anyway, let's go check this out. This is already massive and impressive, but I'm really excited to see this. Day 2 of Liqui Moly. Oh, on a side note, we're only about 300 kilometers or so from the headquarters, but it took hours and hours and hours to get here because yes, although I hit 158 miles an hour, I also was stationary on the Autobahn, because the Autobahn is a myth. Don't believe what people are telling you about it. Yes, German cars are high performance, but the Autobahn is a traffic nightmare a lot of the time. Yes, you might get a quiet moment every now and again when you get to really stretch your legs, but then some slow moving car is going to pull out in front of you as well. Anyway, rant over. We are here, Saale. Let's go check out Liqui Moly's oil production facility. So I'm in one of the most wonderfully nerdy parts of the whole Liqui Moly organization, and I'm not going to show you too much proprietary information, but there's a lot of nerd happening here, and we just spent half an hour nerding out fully about it, and I'm going to try and regurgitate as part of a test. But basically, this is the quality control analysis lab, and it is huge. There are three different types of spectroanalyzers back there, and then coming over here. All right, let's go to one of my favorite machines, because I mean this one's, I don't want to show you, and I'm gonna get yelled at, but they're being amazing. So much testing equipment. But this is the infrared tester. So when you bring up an oil, it will show you a graph, and if you are smart enough with chemistry, physics, it will show you this, and you can point to the dip in the graph and say, that's zinc or whatever it is from whatever additive, etc. There's so much equipment over here. But why is this important? Because Liqui Moly's made in Germany, only here. And so all of the tanks that you see outside, they are literally testing them when they come in, when they go through the pipes, at the filling, once it's filled, and then those samples are kept for a minimum of 2 years so that they can always go back and say, this batch on this day had this result, and here it is as well. So here's one for cold temperatures. I didn't know the oil could freeze, actually, ignorant as I am, but apparently, again, Alaska, northern Russia, etc. So that's the whole thing. Now there are SEE standards on that, and it will give you a range. So they might say if it's between 8 and 16 for the results, that's fine. But then Liqui Moly nerd out even further and say no, ours has between 11 and 12. So 8 and 16 is acceptable, but we want to be right in the middle of that range, and that's what they do here. And I want to tell you more about the machines, but honestly, my mind is blown even more. Additives was fascinating, but this is absolutely above and beyond. Literally hundreds of thousands of samples a year, tens of thousands, tens and tens of thousands, just while the oils and additives are going through the pipes, just for that. So every single bottle for every single batch has been covered within their specifications here. All right, I want to make sure no one's running tests, I'm not interrupting. But yeah, a whole bunch of spectroanalyzers just hanging out, doing crazy oil things. All right, I don't want to bore you too much with this. It's fascinating. I'm overwhelmed, but it's super, super cool also that they're letting me just come through and nerd out and actually learn. But the most important thing that they're really trying to drum into me, because we've all seen the oil analysis, etc., is that any one test does not possibly show what it is. It's like zooming in on a pixel. You need to zoom out to look at the overall. So they literally, for their 4, 5, or more processes, every single one comes together to add up to the actual proper analysis of the oil that they then put in the bottle, test again, and send out around the world. Unbelievable. Apparently it's in the basement as well. 2 years worth of samples, and there's a huge basement just full of samples. This seems like something like from Indiana Jones and the Lost Ark or something. Somewhere between and Saale, there's 6 massive 1.8 million cubic meter containers of base oils. So fully synthetic, semi-synthetic. These come in through a heated pipe off of the river. So barges will come down and deliver them. And there is over 10 million square meters, which going from meters to liters, there's probably some sort of thing, but I do not know it. But either way, that's a hell of a lot of oil. So why does it come here to Saale? Because this is the hometown of Liqui Moly oils. Now, the hometown of Liqui Moly is but all of the oil production is up here. So let's go check out everything that's going on inside the Saale Liqui Moly production plant. So from the huge tanks above, there's pipes running all over, again, all welded stainless steel. But one of the really interesting things, apart from they spent over 30 million euros doing all of these pipes and everything, is so they do different batches through the same pipes. And so to avoid cross-contamination, normally it would have been 300 or 400 liters of separate clean oil would be put through to clean it out. But that's kind of wasteful, because that 300 to 400 liters of flushing oil was then trash. So they have developed a way of having about 30 or 40 liters with a bowl that fits the pipes perfectly, and that gets put through with pressure and that cleans it out. And they actually won awards for being environmentally friendly because they saved 270 liters of flush oil by using this new ball flush method of swapping out the products in the pipes, which is amazing. And also, these are really, really, really big. This is absolutely wild how big this is compared to, especially, I mean, yesterday at Additives, I was like, this is smaller than I expected. The amount of throughput that they put through is amazing, but it's unbelievable. This is what you picture when you think about Liqui Moly oils getting mixed, blended, all the additives, everything else to go into the 5-liter jugs. And there's forklifts running around, so I'm gonna not get a hit here or get in the way, but amazing. So welcome to the main production hall. So they've actually just gone on lunch break, which is a great opportunity for me to run down and jump in and around the machines without interrupting anybody. So again, no storage here. So these arrive outside multiple times a day. The pallets, they come in. This is gonna be super light low. No label right now because the bottles may be 5W30, 5W40, but if we turn around here, we're gonna see these bottles are about to become light low 5W40. So, starts out, goes in here. First thing it does is get filled up. So we're gonna run down 7 nozzles. They drop down, fill it up to the correct amount, and then it moves backwards, and you can just see there's a little drip tray, and that's so they can reclaim all of the wasted oil there. And another award-winning green, or as the Germans would say, blue planet thing. So fill up there, comes around, goes through. This is the bottle caps of the 20 liters. And then here we go. These are the bottle caps for the 5 liters. Goes in through there, gets screwed on by the little motor there, which means we're gonna have to run around. Oh wait, we're behind schedule now. So running around, here we go. Nope, we've missed these bottles too. Machines, I'm behind schedule. I'm behind schedule keeping up with them right now, but use your imagination that there was still a jug here. Labels go on front and rear. It then gets pressed on here, goes through to here. This is fascinating. I'm going to show you this on the other production line in a moment. But as we come around, there we go. All labeled up with somewhere to go, somewhere around the world. Running around. Gets out there into the boxes. 4 per box. Comes out. Taped. Ready to go. Super light glove. 10W40. Now that blue box. Let's run over to the other side and talk about the blue box really quickly. What could the blue box possibly be doing? Well, this is Street Race 10W50 here, and it's going to come into here and they take a photograph of it. This kind of blew my mind. So why on earth would they take a photograph of a bottle of oil that they already know what it looks like? Well, actually, they photograph every single bottle. So there's a special ink that does the batch number on it. It's sealed. That way they can trace exactly what happened, where it went through, if there's any damages, if that batch number is used on a fraudulent photo, they can go back and say, this is the exact time, date, here's a photo of that serial number on that product with the label stuck on. And again, it goes back to quality control. So I had no idea, literally, how much goes into it. So much analysis on the oil, but then that every single bottle, once it's sealed, is photographed. Liqui Moly has a photograph of that bottle of oil that's sitting in your garage, and not in a creepy way, in an actual like caring, give a damn, traceable, accountable way. Just super, super mind-blowing. While everyone is still out to lunch, I will point out there is one other measuring device or component or quality control that I did not touch on. So my work is getting quality controlled right now. Weight. So when you check the oil and you're like, oh, this one's a little higher, a little, no, they're physically weighed, and there's a sliding scale. Again, going back to that, this is what's allowable, this is what's okay, this is what we want. Liqui Moly have that weight, so they know exactly down to the gram how much the oil weighed that went into it, so that they know you get the correct amount. Okay, quality control check now passed, I think. So much to see, seriously. And there's those pipes that are coming in from outside. See, it's all connected. So this is the end of the line, physically, metaphorically, because everything's now packaged up. I'm going to stay well out the way of any forklifts that are coming, because this batch is going in a container to Costa Rica right now as well, loading up for Thailand and Mongolia. Who knew that Mongolia bought so much Liqui Moly? But this will be an entire container going to Mongolia. So literally, if you're in the USA, Canada, Puerto Rico, wherever you are, your bottle of Liqui Moly was inspected, filled, contents were weighed, bottle was photographed, it was then loaded up into a box, put on a pallet, wrapped, brought here. That's it, 100%, no exception. Every single bottle in the world has sat right here, which is really kind of a weird and interesting thing to think about. In any way, I mean, just this is the center of the Liqui Moly world, and it's about to be dispersed and go out all over. I cannot say thank you enough to everyone that's given me tours that made this happen. This was originally an idea from Liqui Moly USA. I asked them if I could visit, and they said, actually, you will be the first visitor after COVID. They have not had any guests or visitors basically in the last year. They've still been working, correct government approvals and everything, so the oil has flowed. But just super excited to be here. I love a good factory tour. I'm super interested in the mechanization and all of the logistics that goes around it. But this is the first time that I've really gone through and seen chemical analysis and being done on every batch, and so many mind-blowing things. So massive thank you to everyone at Liqui Moly, both in Ulm, the original home for Liqui Moly, here in Saale, with Liqui Moly and Miguin. And yeah, this has just been super cool. It's also just nice to get out and travel again. It's really genuinely nice. I do love a good factory and a good drive. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you have motor oil on your shopping list, you have a choice of multiple brands, I would say, hey, please support the people that support me for if nothing else. But also, this was super amazing to have the opportunity to share this. I just can't thank them enough, and I hope that will also be another reason for you to consider checking out Liqui Moly. Never mind their absolute devotion to quality control. It is mind-blowing how much quality control is happening in this place, and I have not shown all of it, but I hopefully touched on some of it. Also, hand wash paste. Did not know they made that. Maybe not sold in all of our markets. I can't tell where this one's going, but wherever it's going in the world, enjoy your fresh new Liqui Moly products. For now though, don't forget, wash your hands, wash your cars, and take care. Goodbye.